Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's Sunday night. It's Sunday night, and tonight we hopefully have some viewer games. We definitely have bees. I can say with certainty there are bees. We also have a birthday. Happy birthday, boss. I don't know what day, but apparently birthday month of July for boss. Hence why we're getting these giveaways by the time this goes live on YouTube. It'll be will it be too late? Yes, it'll be too late by that point, so I hope you logged in. But it's been a hot minute since you joined. Welcome back, PVZ. Yep, we got another up. We got our gift. We also got some new maps. That's one of the big news items as of late. The team is rolling out some new maps, some new exciting maps. I'm very interested to see how the rings work out. I had two conversations about it, and I don't know. My initial reaction is it reminds me of Red Rum, kinda, where if somebody can control the center, they're just gonna lock out their opponent, and their opponent has mostly no way to come back. But I don't know if that's 100% true, because the heart is not as assailable as it is. Like, after thinking about it, the heart is not as assailable as it is or was on Red Rum. That's why you can see it a little bit better. The reason is that, like, you could control space and kind of box them out, and then maybe you can control most of the panic points. But in order to actually stage an offensive on their heart, remember, you're going cross. So, like, bottom left to top right, or bottom right to top left, and therefore you still kind of need lobbers. I guess you can just post up some range guys and then just shell the heart that way, so maybe you can apply enough pressure. And your opponent's going to be left trying to cobble together some sort of defense force out of lobbers, range guys. Well, maybe you don't need lobbers, but range guys and flyers. I mean, it's possible. We'll have to see. I played and heard some stuff about rings. In my opinion, either player can stay inside as long as they can keep up with tempo, control mid, start funneling towards the heart. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is you got to keep up with tempo, and I wonder how where I'm going with it is the snowballiness of the map, where once somebody's able to gain control of the center, do they just kind of take over and can, like, never relinquish it? I mean, that would be the goal, but I don't know how viable that game plan is, but we'll see. Now, either way, we do have a lot of viewer games. We unfortunately missed. Well, we just straight up I didn't bother last week. There was one in the queue that would have worked because everything else was broken by the patch. So we're going to jump in. We have plenty tonight. So we'll be back on our usual cadence. Now, before we jump into everything, of course, I have to let everybody know that I am part of the content affiliate program, and in fact, the Phobies team doesn't give me coffee. As you can see over there, 96,000 coffee up to this point. We're producing Phobies content. It's actually way more coffee than that, but I've spent some of it. That's how much the stockpile is at this point. Just letting everybody know as we get into it, and get into it, we shall. To lead the night off with the game that I mentioned was from last week that we didn't get to, and that is dearh. Flesh crawler did a lot of damage. The new and improved flesh crawler seems to, in fact, have a lot of damage. Seems pretty good. Whoop, my ops is being weird. No control over mid is fragile. I mean, it does seem like the lack of vision obstruction due to being abyss tiles compared to, say, like true obstacles means that you should have an easier time getting in. My first thought when I looked at it was that it's a fairly significant run distance, assuming no flyers, to be able to get there. And plus, if you're able to control the mid, you have some displacement tools. But the reality is, like, how long is it going to take you to get an attractor in there? If you have a Moffat, it's like, okay, you got one guy that can do a pull, and it may not even, like, your opponent may position such that you can't get it. It'll be interesting. I'm just glad there's new maps. Still waiting for the ability to have all the maps available in Frenemies. I will say that I haven't put any effort into the new tournament series. I do want to do that. I have my own tournaments to prepare for, so I just haven't had time. But I do want to do that. I know there are other people trying to put tournaments together, and I hope that they are successful. Seriously. Also, what is this bad guy doing? Are they doing mono undead? Did they start with Contortio? I didn't notice. Either way, that Benny's in for a sad day. This had to have been during the event or something. I don't know. I gotta be honest, I feel like the event stuff where it's like Monster Mayhem or Undead Apocalypse or whatever the hell they're calling them. You know, like the ones where it's mechs versus dimensionals or, you know, like even if it's a singular phobie type. I think those should be active 100% of the time. I think those should be active like 100% of the time / just part of the quest system, which we're still waiting on that Fabled quest rework. I mean, we did get... Well, I guess we're not. We did get some quest changes, but, like... I don't know. I don't hate the events. I think they're fine. But they do... Also, by the way, EBGB Special didn't throw it out there. Gotta make sure we get those in. Didn't last very long for obvious reasons. I don't know. We've talked at length about the Phobies economy. I don't feel like talking about it tonight. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of having this conversation. It's been going on for 3 years now, over 3 years. And we all know where everything stands. I don't think anybody's defending it. I mean, I will state defenses of it, but I am not defending it in the sense that, like, I don't agree with it, and I think it needs to change, but it is where it is. Like, also, Bad Guy is just getting mollywopped. Like, what is... I don't know what's going on. I mean, obviously, it's because they're doing the event and they're putting themselves at a handicap. But, yeah, they're just getting bodied here. dearh just laying into him. That Gravedigger's still doing a lot of damage, though. Huh. Jeez, what level are these at? Also, there's a bad sushi on the way. I know I'm covering it. Yeah. There you go. There's a bad sushi. That tells you the state we're in. Level 20s. Phantom sushi is right. God, I'm very dehydrated. I didn't do a good job hydrating this weekend at all. Did a very bad job. I'm very tired as a result. heebie-jeebie specials, part 2. The run back. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, if you will. Really, this entire game was just, like, stalling for time until Flesh Crawler got on the board, and now we can see what the hell happens. Doesn't seem like this Flesh Crawler is going to do much. Honestly, yeah, I was going to say, like, the correct play, is to probably just back off here and just play defense. Bad Guy has to, like, rearrange their entire team to even try and make anything happen. And, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Talk about teeing it up. Oh, no! That's gross. Tentacles! Triple kill. Sick. I just, like, I think the funniest plays are when the other player... I mean, this was clearly out of desperation, right? Like, you just kind of had to, like, hope as Bad Guy. I mean, I think they were really just sacrificing their team to end the game because they were clearly doing the event or quests or both. And, oh, excuse me. Yeah, like, the funniest stuff is when the other players just trapped. They have no choice. Like, what are they supposed to do here? They were cooked. And dearh, just frying them up. He's got that pan sizzling. GG. What happened to the hydrate button? I don't know. I probably turned it off or something. I probably turned it off at one point or something like that. I mean, hydration is not a singular day thing or even a singular, like I could sit here and drink a ton of water, right? Like, I could drink this whole thing of water, refill it, drink it again, refill it, drink it again. But, like, you need to consistently do it. It's a constant thing. And once you're in the mode of dehydration or hydration, it's like you need to... It's more about habits, I guess is the way to put it. All right, we got a no-note game. Painful Fate. Painful Fate, notably, had funnier games that we'll probably end up skipping tonight just because of duplicates. At least funnier in the notes. No notes for this game, but the notes did amuse me on the other games. Painful Fate, what are you doing? What exactly is happening here? Turn 1 Unbearable, I don't think I've seen since, like, week 1 Phobies. And I'm not trolling here. Honest to God, it might be week 1. What are we doing here? I wish Unbearable was more playable. I think Unbearable is one of the coolest Phobies in the game. Real talk. I think Unbearable is a really cool Phobie. Not because he does anything, you know, really impressive or spectacular, but I just like the design. Super secret tactics our mind cannot comprehend. Yeah, exactly. This is like some 7th step to the sun. Shout out to my, I think it was G.I. Joe Renegades. Is it Renegades that was from? I think it was Renegades. It was definitely G.I. Joe. I just don't remember which one it was. I actually watched a video the other day on the like the history of Storm Shadow, which is very interesting. A lot of stuff I knew, but there was definitely some stuff I learned. Unfortunately, Painful Fate, guaranteeing a Painful Fate from Miss Moffat. Spiders have also come up a lot in my YouTube feed lately. Dead spider? Yeah, this should be a very dead spider. Like, there's no reason to charge in there with Miss Moffat. That is absolutely not what you want to be doing. However, bad guy also put a Roly-Boly? Roly-Boly. They had great Strombolies. It was placed by me when I was growing up. Moly-Bully was actually the name of the phobia that I was trying to get out. And when your opponent plays one of those, you have to imagine their collection is just not that impressive. And we're going to body block with a little alligator action here. Going to tank the fart explosion. Does get a kill there on the droney, but honest to God, who cares? It don't matter. Ooh, all right. So the question is it's not really will anything die, it's which things will die. And I think Moly-Bully and Sheep are going to be our 2 targets here. Ooh, we're not going to be able to get the Sheep out of this. We're going to claim the Moly-Bully instead. And a wall. All right. I do like the body block here with a mech. Keep the Sheep from connecting on the dimensional. Good heads up play. You do offer yourself up to the AoE attack here, and you are down 4-1 panic points, but honestly, this feels like another game where our hero is light years ahead. Dude, what level are they? Alright. I mean, I get it. I get it. It probably would have got it even if it was close to on level. Just because you get the AoE hit, you get 2 Sheep hits, and then you get a jar hit. Like, that should kill a misanthrope, right? There's a point in game design. I've been talking about this a lot in other scopes and thinking about it for my own game designs of where, like, part of the things that are fun, I think, for games is, like, and this is obviously contingent on the genre, the type, like a survival horror is going to feel different than an action-adventure game, like a third-person shooter or a puzzle game, or, you know, like, whatever. But at the end of the day, things should feel like, yeah, that's what should happen. You know, like you do a super powerful, cool-looking attack, you should do 1 billion damage. You know, or like, in this case, you have 5 guys beating on one thing. Probably should kill that one thing, right? Speaking of dead one things, cowbell goes down. This, despite, and I think Painful Fate's doing this very well, like, panic point disadvantage, but able to control the board extremely well. For most of this, they've traded pretty effectively. Picking off bad guy stuff here and there. I think the sheep got a lot more value than it probably should have been allowed to. And although you had the misanthrope protect, maybe in retrospect it would have been better to just let the sheep come in. And then, like, even if you trade Tooth Fairy for the sheep, you're net key positive. I don't know about this one. Or, I mean, actually, that wouldn't be a terrible usage of Halfy. Just, like, let him die. I don't know what the health relationship between the two is off the top of my head. Like, I have to imagine Misanthrope has more health, but I'm not 100% sure. What? Ow. Okay. I mean, I guess this is to counter Flail? Sure. I don't love the Eternal Night. Like, there's just way too much melee. Why are we doing so much melee? This is a kill. I don't know what about that block was offending you. What are we doing with this alligator exactly? Affy is 1.5k, Misanthrope is 1.7k, so a little bit more. And I have to imagine that you probably have a higher level Misanthrope just because it's been out longer, right? Little challenge play here. I still don't... I mean, you trade with the jar. That's actually kind of cool. But I don't... What are we doing with the Eternal Night duo? I wonder when we're going to get a third one. And what would... So we have an axe. We have a mace. A flail. What would the third one be? A hammer? Watch it, there'll be like a nautical themed expansion, and it'll be an anchor. The Hammer of Justice. Down goes Klepto. That guy just, I don't know, offering her up all their phobies for the barbecue. What? Sure. And Sentry's word, get your goddamn Klepto out of here. What? I don't know what that's referencing. Down goes Foul. I mean, bad guy was on the ropes this entire time. Boxing him in. It's like mutton chops for dinner. All right. Dude, I feel like this sheep has been MVP. This sheep put bad guy on their back and almost carried them. I mean, almost is also doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, so I don't think that that description is quite accurate, but either way, GG. GG, we got him. Never didn't have it, chat. Ooh, Okay. All right, we got to... This ought to be interesting. This ought to be interesting. If I can find the game. Okay, here we go. Is this a game? Here we go. All right, it's the master of disaster himself. It's Karst. I got to make good use of Ted! Exclamation point! Emphasis! Other declarative statements. Whew. Karst here on Eternal Monday, bringing it to you live from Steel Peel Arena. So Ted, huh? I know Karst wants to add this to... Probably trying to add this to his repertoire for Phobies reference games. We shall see. We shall see. So notably the opener here, going second, we naturally have a turret, +1 drop, then we get the Gravedigger going. This, who did this first? Was it DT? Was it Hakune? I don't remember who first started doing this with the break in the block and trying to set up this rotational coverage with a turret. And it is definitely a very powerful opener. Ooh, Frosty. Huh. This is also a very long game, in case anybody didn't notice. 32 turns. Yikes. So Karst doing the appropriate thing, given his position, pushing up. The Frosty is kind of annoying, but Karst is banking up to 8, so we'll see what the response is. Wow. Almost 1,700 damage laid into that Bow Mangles. I have to imagine Tick is the kill target here, unless you're going to, like, soften up Frosty, which I don't know that you'll be able to do. Ooh, we're just going to pick here. Okay. Zappy is the response. This is interesting. And of course, Electric Cat supplementing with electrical damage. If Frosty wants to come after Bow Mangles, he's going to get the hurt put on him. Won't quite be a kill. Interesting bait here from Karst. Are we going to get the freeze? No, we can't freeze off the heart, right? I'm pretty sure you can't freeze right off the heart. But the heart as the target allows for a multi-directional or an AoE disease spray, which is pretty annoying. Beams can target off the heart. It's something that I don't know that we've ever seen that. I feel like we haven't. All right, Blinky. Why Blinky? Tooth Fairy is going to come in, clean up the Tick. Frosty getting cooked a little bit. I don't know why, but it's been the trend recently to just use Frosty on any given map, small included, because Frosty is probably the next most broken Phobie. And there is the freeze. That's going to lock down both a diseased Gravedigger as well as the counter, or intended counter, in Zappy. Kaboom. So, 2 dead Phobies walking, sort of. I doubt that Tooth Fairy can kill this, right? Oh, I didn't even see the Bachelor there. Apparently neither did Bad Guy, but well done. That's a good pick. Apparently neither did Bad Guy. Still a lot of damage and the reflect damage coming in. Chipping away. Microscopic. Shooting up the popularity charts recently. Bad Guy out of keys and Karst still with 12. 12, 6. What am I saying? Man, I'm tired. Dehydration is set in, chat. Alright, Karst's trying to stabilize panic points just a hair. Are you going to retreat this? Okay. I was going to say, you're not going to challenge play this, because that sounds like a terrible idea. Over halfway through the game, we got Daisy, and there is the previously mentioned Ted. Both players out of keys. Quantity is on the side of Karst for multiple reasons. These are the exact scenarios you want to try and leverage Resurrect Phobies in. Your opponent is just going to have to jump through so many more hoops, despite 100% flyers, to actually deal with the bones. Bad guy forced to play very defensively and realistically has to kind of fish for a multi-freeze and hope that they're able to lock Karst down in order to allow them to turn the corner here. But Frosty forced back onto the healing spot, and that's not the position you want to be in. Not as bad guy, anyway. So this is an opening for bad guy to kill this Ted, but it's clearly bait because then Tooth Fairy goes in, gets annihilated. Bad guy taking another tactic. Killing off Tooth Fairy. But I think Karst can get at... You're not going to get all the phobies, but you can get it. You should be able to get a double kill here. Okay, that's going to be way easier than I thought it was going to. I thought that Tooth Fairy still had more health left. Now goes Mike. And now, the waiting game. Gotta get a freeze here, right? There's the freeze. This Frosty is regretting many of its life decisions at this stage. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Down goes bone pile numero uno. But, so does Bad Guy's Heart. I cannot shake the feeling here that I was just trolled. Like, I don't know. Did Ted do something? I guess, but like, what did he do that only Ted could do? I don't know. Ted was there for moral support? Yeah, I feel like I was trolled. I don't know if this is like, this is the best use of Ted, but any one key could have done it. Exactly. Or if it's like, nah, let's just play a funny game and troll you. I don't... Especially because they were frozen. So, like... I mean, it's been a while, but, like, I'm 99.9% sure that if you kill a Resurrect Phobia while they're frozen, they're just dead. So it's not like, oh, well, they wouldn't have been able to step on the bone, so therefore they couldn't kill anything. It's like, nah, he was just a one key. Like, I don't get it. All right. Enough of that. Let's get into the next game. Soupy 510. Soupy? It's not soup. It's soup-y. So it's implying, or not implying, it is stating that there is another thing that is soup-like. It's like, it's so humid, it's soupy in here. Just actually accurate because this is the 7th circle of hell. Anyway, our hero is Soupy. New to viewer games. Welcome in. Sheepy gassed it up. Alright. See what kind of gas you got in the tank. Something tells me it's going to be gross. Potentially flammable. Also, what the hell's Haffy's cousin's name? Sulky. I can never remember. Little goon action. I love it when some goon shows up, even if it's on bad guy's side. Goon, also one of my favorite phobies. I think they did a great job with that. They named him Goon. It's one of the few phobies that's just like a really concise name that isn't like, oh, it's sheep and gas, or it's, I mean, cassowary is a literal animal, so I guess that one's also quote-unquote a lazy name. But Goon is just so appropriate. Goon is just so appropriate. Bad guy, zero fear, chase it. What? Hold on. What level is this at? I didn't look at the player levels. Oh, yeah. I think we knew. Oh, shit. Look at that guy. That's actually really funny. That's a funny one. But yeah, I kind of expected this was a rather low stress level game. Oh, man. It's gonna feel good to go to sleep tonight, chat. There's the first blom of the game. And then some fisticuffs. This is not going to work out how you think it will, bad guy, unless you're going to pop out a droney or something. Oh, we got a snowball. That... I don't love that. You're just going to lose this thing, right? I mean, you're definitely going to lose the snowball. I guess you force our hero to commit... Which, by the way, our hero's sitting on 11 keys? What are we doing here? All right, we're not losing the snowball. Completely safe play. Gargles. Into repeller. I mean, repeller kind of makes sense. This is rush hour. This is standoff focused, we'll say. Bad guy, a lot of control of the board here. Trying to make sure I'm not accidentally about to turn off my power strip. That would be bad for the stream. Klepto action. Hopefully to deter this offensive. But you do need to start turning the corner soon. Halfway through the game. Or we're at the halfway point anyway. I don't think Goon's in nerf territory. Don't get me wrong, you can make an argument to nerf Goon. His stats are kind of out of line. And he has an incredibly powerful ability. I think that they would just nerf the stats, like give him less HP or something like that, but I like powerful stuff. And I think that Bloms exemplify exactly how the game abilities should be designed. They reward setting something up potentially multiple turns in advance. Sure, sometimes you just, hey, your opponent walked 2 guys in a line, I'll Blom them. But it allows you to leverage one of the core components. Like, this is a not very thrilling Blom, right? Which they also... Well, I guess there was no way to set that up. I was going to say they could have body blocked by the gargles, but then our hero could have just pushed with Repeller to then free up the space because the gargles provides a line of sight. But Anyway, oh, bad guy. Oh, no! Wait, what? Yikes. Yikes. That's just... You can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. Oh my god. Dude, I'm telling you, there are multiple ways to enjoy Phobies. And I'm going to talk about spectating Phobies. That's basically all I do now. And I love watching Phobies. It's a fun game. I do want to, I want to play it, but I need something to play for, and it can't be ladder. Discussion that I've brought up many times before. But watching high-level games is great, because it's like, oh man, will they make this play? Do they do this? Do they do that? Trying to figure out, like, what's in the players' heads. Like, the last game we were watching Karst thing, he's like, oh, I did a great TED play. And I'm like, did you, though? Did you, though? Here, it's just like, oh no, you know that guy just doesn't know how this other thing works, and he's gonna get got. Bad guy got. Straight up got. Like, you just don't see that sort of thing happening, really, in high-level play, because players know what the Phobies do, they know what their capabilities are, and it's like, oh, well, this minor imperfection in movement or positioning led to the victory 10, 15, 20 turns later, because, like, everything compounded over time. Here, it's just like, nah, I'm just gonna let my whole team get farted on. It's just hilarious. It's just so funny. It's like, no, man. Imagine what went through that. Maybe we should check if this was async or not. Like, imagine what went through that person's head after that happened. And here's where bad guy thinks they're going to get their revenge with this tentacles play. Oh no, you can't kill the klepto? Tentacles. You do get a kill here. But it's only Sulky. And a little known fact about Phobies is that they will still do 100% of their attack damage, whether they're at 100% health or 1% health. Little known fact. Our hero turning this into a massacre. Am I seeing things here? I thought for a second there was like a red tint to Flesh Crawler's teeth. I think I'm seeing things. I mean, to be honest, bad guy's not 100% out of it, because you never know. But bad guy's out of it. Good sequencing here if we're going to go for the boop. Boop. Huh. I guess we can't kill Mike here. I probably would have gone for Mike. There's no way you couldn't kill Mike. You're telling me that 2 Gin Sting hits and a Clinico doesn't kill Microscopic? There's no way. Wiggy's like, nah, you got this. Don't worry about it. Five to 0 panic, point advantage. 1,000,000 phobies to 1. Bad guy reeling on the ropes. Going out on their own terms. Well played. GG? GG. This was... is that async? I don't even remember. That's frenemies. Yeah, because the trident is arena, right? Or is it the other way around? I always forget. I always forget. If it was async, imagine, like, loading up, you know, you submit your moves for the day, and then you load it up tomorrow. All right, let me get into my game, see what happened. And then you have to watch that replay, and your whole team just explodes. That's... it's got to be demoralizing. All right, drtybeanwatr coming back at you. If it wasn't so late in the day, I would have gotten some bean water for myself. Need some little caffeine pick-me-up. Thunderrock standing there menacingly against Inoculus. Feels good to be back from a break from the game. Welcome back, drtybeanwatr. My OBS is being wonky again. Switching monitors for no apparent reason. It needs an update. There's an update that I gotta apply. But I don't like to update OBS like 10 minutes before I'm going live. It's just asking for something bad to happen. Like, at least if I do it tonight, right? I would have tomorrow to try and figure it out. You know, I could load it up ahead of time before the stream. I don't want to do an update and then, like, shit, all my scenes are screwed or something. Is it supposed to be Benny the ballerina? Is that the joke? Is that why he tiptoes? We need more music-based undead phobies to go at Conductor. I want an undead that's just, like, straight up a cello or something. An animated violin. That would actually be really heinous, if you think about it, given that it's an undead. That would be awful. That's some Hills Have Eyes level kind of stuff. Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever. 2 movies that I've never actually seen, by the way, so I'm just guessing. I've never really been into slasher movies. Like, I remember seeing the, went with a group of friends to see the Jason remake, whatever year that was. Like, 20-aughts, 2010, something like that. And I'm like, this is fine, but I don't know. Jason never really did it for me. I need, like, cool monsters, and I need the victims to not be idiots. They can't just be complete imbeciles. Which most of the time in these movies they are. It's just like, just leave. Which I know is a trope, but... And in the situation, you can understand people doing stupid things because they're panicking. People don't make good decisions when they're, you know, really thinking properly, allegedly. Let alone when they're panicked and their lives are on the line. People are going to make really ridiculous decisions. PvZ, I would go so far as to say most tropes are bad. But you have to remember, when people make things, and this is going to apply to Phobies too, we'll bring it back there. You have to think about who the target audience is, and like, who are they making the thing for? So, a trope is a trope because it's been around forever and it's been in a ton of movies. But if you assume that the movie is targeted at like a 16-year-old, It's like, oh, let's see the cool new slasher movie. Like, probably haven't seen that many movies like that, full stop. Now, the internet is a thing, so now they've probably seen tons of clips or lots of movies anyway, but, like, that wasn't always the case. It would be, you know, you just literally hadn't seen that many movies, hadn't heard that many stories, hadn't read that many books, whatever. And as a result, you could get away with the tropes because, like, I would have seen it 80 times, but, like, somebody else maybe only saw it twice, or this might be the first time, so the trope doesn't matter to them as much. Or it's not as impactful that it's a trope because, like I said, it's just the inexperience. Now, how does that apply to something like Phobies? It's the same sort of thing where, I mean, Phobies isn't like a story-driven game, so we're not looking at, like, story beats. This is a lot of effort to kill this daisy. But we should consider, and I guess probably one of the other analogs would be, like, gameplay loops, where it's important to recognize where and when people get sick of things. Like, oh, this was cool, now I'm tired of seeing it. Usually the surrounding meta phobies. And where and how does that impact new players, we'll call them veteran players, or people that have been around for a little bit, and then whatever goes above and beyond veteran at that stage. Sorry, trying to do a couple things at once here, chat. So, apologize, got distracted because people are sending me all kinds of pings and messages and things. Hold on one second, chat. Alright, chat, we're back. Brief pause there. So, what the hell is going on here? We got Charon's dueling, we got Zappies, we got Erratics. I don't know. My allergies start bothering me even more when I'm dehydrated, so another reason I gotta drink water. Bad guy trying to... Ooh. About to say mount a valiant defense. A little Mildred action here. I guess the Thunder Rocks is kind of zoning out the Inoculus, sort of, but not really. Honestly, this don't look good for our hero. What is happening? Ooh, a little dial action. All right. Let's see if... Whoop, hit the mic. My bad. What? What are we doing here? I guess. Can't the dial do this from range? Okay. Yeah, for a brief moment, I was a little worried for our hero, because it's like Gonzo's up, Mildred's up, like, could bad guy get a position here where they could just drop a juiced Mildred onto our hero's head, but, like, the Mildred's never gonna work now. I mean, I guess it'll work, but... A lot of heart damage, though. Some bad guy does need to put in a lot of work to try and stabilize this, and they have a... Dude, why do they have so many one-movers? Oh my god. You couldn't capture any panic points back if you wanted to. Which you do want to. There's a Mildred. Landed on 2 folk. Wow, it doesn't even kill Dial. Okay, I guess it never was in doubt. Sorry, I lost track a little bit when we had to pause there in the middle, so I was trying to, like, regain my footing as far as how the game was going. And, yeah, ball game. like this map. I think this is kind of an interesting map. I don't know. I get the sense it's not super popular. But I think I like that map. Alright, then we got Painful Fate games. So we'll skip those. We'll come back to them. They're the ones with the amusing notes. Alright, we got Kaiwillcurse. That's not bad. That's bad. I'm the only one allowed to curse around here. Lots of 4-letter words. Genuinely, I thought I had this in the bag until my opponent played Broodwurst, the new phobie. I assume Broodwurst, but yes. Please give tips on how to counter that late game pain in the ass Broodwurst. It's Broodwurst. I think the first step in defeating the phobie would be identifying the actual name. Because you might have difficulty looking up what its text actually is if you don't know what it is. But just having fun here. We'll see. Could obtain going. Oh, Jesus. I can't read. Can't talk, really. Gonna obtain hamburger buns. We'll be back to stream soon. All right, PvZ. 30-turn game here on the old big house. Little heebie-jeebie special. I do love that on this map. One of the first maps where we really saw this take off and kind of like locking your opponent out. I will say at the outset, we're going to be kind of theory crafting answers to Broodwurst. So the reason I say that is up until recently, Broodwurst just sucked. Broodwurst was complete doo-doo. And there's not, like, what do I do to counter Broodwurst? Well, who cares? No one's going to play him, so it doesn't matter. Now that Broodwurst got buffed, things have changed a little bit. Trading out some 1 keys here. However, should be able to clean this up fairly well. Bad guys starting their banking already. Going up to 5 keys. No creep puke. Fairly even thus far. I have to imagine that Bachelor's dying to the, ooh, the double heebie-jeebie special, locking him out. I have to imagine the Bachelor's dying to the poison, hence why it went aggro there. Unfortunately, the Spud is in position to soften up this Jin Sting. Hematic backing it up. 10 keys to 9. So here's one thing that I will say, and we'll have to see, obviously, how this game progresses, but as confident as you will feel with this particular setup, the thing is that you don't have an overwhelming advantage. You know, like, you're not ending the game imminently. And as a result, your opponent has time to mount their defenses, or their counterattack, really. Now, they did lock themselves into 5 phobies with the Gravedigger play. And of course, they're opening it up here. But they absolutely should have kept Spud, you know, keep Spud in a position where it can actually threaten stuff. Your Gravedigger should be back up soon, isn't it? Is it back this turn? It can't be back this turn, right? Alright, we get a little range extender there. It's fine. So it does seem like you already have the counter to Broodwurst here, and that's Innocuous. Repeller would be better. I harken back to ye days of old when I ran into Hakune on ladder. And we were on this map, and Hakune dropped Cerberus. I answered with a Repeller and then just played a giant game of Keep Away. And since I had a similar, maybe not the heebie-jeebie special setup, but like I was ahead in damage, I was able to give some ground and just poke it away, poke it away, poke it away, and then eventually set up the offense again. Down goes Creep. So like I said, you are ahead here. You have the panic point advantage. Arguably better Phobies. However, you only have 3 keys left. And you're not imminently closing the game. You have an advantage, but you don't have, like, an overwhelming advantage here. Now, should you have pushed up or pushed in farther prior to this? Probably not. But you are kind of locked out here. Like, you already burned Muffin, I think. Right? I'm pretty sure I saw a Muffin. I think you need to get the sightlines set up so that you can poke down the Brute Worst. Like, you need Innocuous to connect with it every single turn. Like, almost to the point that it might have been worth breaking your own obstacle in preparation. Because they are clearly going to try and advance this Brute Worst in, right? You don't get both of the... Okay, I was going to say, don't let them both get diseased. You're lucky they don't have a Shove Shark here. So they are going to go for it. If... Yeah, I feel like you're fine. I mean, it's going to depend on what the damage... I'm not going to check all the numbers. We're going to find out momentarily. But, like, if you kill the Brute Worst here, you're trading arguably 6 keys for 6 keys. The problem is you do kind of need to protect this Innocuous. Because if you lose the Hematic and the Innocuous, that's going to feel terrible. You don't kill the Brute Worst. Oh, no. I don't know that you go in with the regular Jin Sting, then, on the previous turn. Maybe you have to. This is the thing about disease. Like, the question you need to ask yourself, and this is difficult to do in Arena because you can't just go, okay, let me think about this board state and maybe even do the actual arithmetic, is how many turns can I tank the disease? Especially since you have a Clinico out that can elongate the lifespan of some of these Phobies, but this, in retrospect, doesn't seem like you really had too much trouble for the most part. I mean, this is getting dicey. If your Jin Sting had lived, I feel like you'd be perfectly fine. Which obviously, it's like, oh, well, if all my stuff worked, then I was never in doubt. This is kind of aggressive, because you're clearly losing that Clinico, right? Wait, what? I guess this can clean it up on its own. Yeah, I don't know about sending in that Clinico. Oh, you do actually lose this. Well, so I misunderstood the notes, but shout out to kaiwillcurse for submitting a loss. I think this turn... Let's watch this turn again. So, 25-25, 56-75. You have an enormous amount of health, especially in relation to your opponents. You have a panic point advantage, and they're locked out from this angle. They will be able to next turn break it and get in. But the point is that they have to do an end around, and it's just going to take them time to funnel all their phobies in. And it's entirely possible most of them won't be able to attack right away. So I think you can just play a game of keep away and zone them a little bit. Like fighting game zoner them. As in, like, just poke retreat, poke retreat, poke retreat, poke retreat. Until... Whoop. Well, the game ended. I, honest to God, didn't notice the loss in the beginning. So the idea is you can use the Innocuous to threaten them. And I'm not even saying stand there and attack twice, because then they just dive your Innocuous and kill it. You could probably poke and give ground. I don't hate the idea of you breaking that center block with the Gravedigger, because it opens up more sight lines. So I think this was the turn. So you poke here. This is still 2,500 health. This staying and attacking, perfectly fine. Like, this guy's toast anyway. Unless you were going to try and retreat and heal with Clinico, but you obviously can't. Now, this is all talking about it from the scope of trying to fix it from this particular situation. But the problem is that you really need to fix it ahead of time. Like, they were going to, if it wasn't Brute Worst, they were going to threaten some other decently sized phobie. The question is, how are you ever going to answer whatever that thing is? And obviously, it could be a wide array of things. I think they had 7 keys. Well, they still have 1 left, so yeah, they had 7 keys. But I think this turn was crippling, and if you just retreated everything out of Brute Worst range, like melee attack range, because it obviously would have gone in again, I think you'd be better off, because then you can just collapse on it. Like, imagine they did this setup, but all your guys were back 1 space, and they advanced this way. You'd probably be able to jump on them and cripple them. Like, your Innocuous... Here, let me... So if you started this turn pretty much as you are, and this was back 1, this was back 1, this was back 1. They can move the Gin Sting here like they did. They can't reach anything. They can move the Spud here. They can reach, but can only attack once. And then they could possibly, they go 1, 2, and then they're blocked because Brute Worst moved here. Now, maybe they don't go in, but if they don't, you're just buying yourself more time in order to get the Clinico back online, so that way you can leverage the heal. Plus, every turn, like, if they decide not to advance, this Innocuous is still here and can hit anything in this arc. Like, you're just lighting everything up. It's possible that they just dive you and then you're just going to have to deal with the dive. The reality of the situation is, I think you actually needed to try and do something earlier in this game to lock it up. Your anchor point here is clearly the Innocuous. And I think the game was actually lost when you let the Hematic Gin Sting get diseased. I don't want to say you rushed it, but that's kind of where I'm going with it, is that you had a health advantage. You had the longer range phobie. Just poke them. Let them come to you. They have to. They will lose the game if they don't go after you. But I think you gave them a rather decent connection here by allowing this board state to happen. That being said, Brute Force may become a problem. He may become a terror on small maps because a 2-range disease like that on a very tanky phobie could be pretty good. Either way, GG. GG. Definitely very brave, because I know no one likes to put themselves in the spotlight when they lose. All right, somebody else new. We got Wands 1. Sure. We got this. This is close game for me because we both target the heart, but I have the advantage to hit first hit heart opponent, and opponent spawns squiggles, and we race who take the heart faster. Okay. All right. Hold on one second, chat. All right, chat. We're back. Sorry about that. What do we got here? All right, it's a close game, heart race, something like that. Let's see what we got. I feel like the shadows tonight are weird. Got the light on. I don't know why, like... I feel like I am darker on screen than I usually am. I don't think I messed with any lights, and there wasn't a power outage or anything. I don't know. Not important. What is important, apparently, is this heart race, which is what this map has boiled down to. I'm very curious. Very curious about a lot of things, but in this particular case, I think there are a number of, if not solved, but like, they're close to solved maps. And I wonder if the devs are willing. I mean, they clearly are, but should they be more willing to just, like, forever remove a map from the pool? So, like, we haven't seen Agora in however long now. Would it be appropriate for them to remove, say, this map from the pool? And at what point should they reintroduce it? Because, for example, let's say they remove this map and go, you know what, the players have figured it out. The most appropriate way is to heart race, and it just comes down to very silly races. There's almost no interaction. You know, like, the players don't do it and make any meaningful decisions. They just kind of beeline for each other's hearts, and that's the end of the game. And the person who blinks first loses, or, you know, whatever. Whether that's true or not, that's not the point here. Let's say that it is. So they remove the map. And then some number of months, years, whatever goes by, and they introduce new phobies, and they go, you know what? This map can now come back because the options change. Internally, we've tested it, and we said that now you're able to do these other strategies too. Is that a reasonable approach to go? Or to take? I don't mind it. I come from card games where bans are a thing, and they're not exactly uncommon. And sometimes things get unbanned because the situation changes, and I don't think that that's bad. It is different in card games, like just the format and everything, but I wonder... Arrow clustering up for opponent's Klepto, but... Ugh, you don't like that part. Can you get Klepto and Creep here? You probably have to retreat for the, Flesh Crawl. There's a lot of bad things that could happen here. So we got the Flesh Crawler in the north. We also have Boom that can go off the stem here. Bees. Alright, clean up the boom. Double hits on this Klepto. Our hero's standing their ground here. Oh, can Gonzo take the snowball? Wow. Strong retaliation here. I do like this play. Prevents the Gonzo from getting pulled in next to the flesh crawler. Meaning the flesh crawler has just like that extra work to be done. This is not at all how I expected this to go. I was talking about how, oh, this map is solved and, like, everybody knows you just go for the heart. And, like, not even close. We're duking it out in the middle here. But now we're getting much closer. The typical setup, we got the Gravedigger blocking out the Jin Sting here. And we're setting up for the big push. Panic points are stabilized, but our hero is setting up to flip that situation. I don't know about this bad guy. You're going to try and defend this? It seems like it's asking for trouble. It just seems like it's asking for trouble. This isn't just you got the first hit. This is like you are way set up before they are. And again, going back to my original point about this being the known game plan for this map is that, yeah, like this is what you do. You lock out your opponent, and then it's really difficult for them to try and defend. You have the life total advantage. They do have the panic point advantage now, which can make things scary. Of course, Squiggles coming in as mentioned in the notes. What? I guess that's to prevent, like, the other range guys rotating? Imagine if this map had the stims moved over one. Like, the stim is where Gravedigger is, so you could actually target the heart. That would be terrible, right? That would just be god-awful. Ooh, we're just going for broke. Juicing up the jar. I mean, bad guy's gonna make a big effort here, but... Oh, they're taking time off to kill the boomer, too? Yikes. Squiggles does make this interesting, because there's... I mean, the math can just be calculated, and I think bad guy has to know at this point that they can't win, unless they just didn't look at the numbers at all, and they're like, yeah, you know what, if we get there, we get there. I can't believe you weren't able to get it on this turn. Let's see how close this actually is. You know what's weird about the animation for Squiggles? Like, every Phobie has that black outline, but part of Squiggles does not have that during the attack animation. I wonder if that's intentional. In the dawn of the final day for bad guy. Yeah, that extra turn gotcha there. Quite obviously. 142 health on the heart. Squeaking it out. Well played. Yeah, the end of that game really exemplified the issues with that map. There was no point in either player even trying to meaningfully interact with their opponent. I'm not a big fan of that map. I'm sure Karst will come in and tell me, just like Phobia, that no, you're not supposed to do that. You should do this other thing. And admittedly, my slice of watching the game is different from, like, I don't watch as many games as I used to, but every time I see this map, it's just, yeah, rush the heart. Good luck, everybody. Ready, set, go. We're off to the races. All right, Zay back at it once again here on Showdown. Hematic carrying me to victory. I assume that's carrying me. Dude, I don't know what's going on with autocorrect. I'm sure there's autocorrect on people's submissions, but, like, for me, it feels like my autocorrect had a goddamn stroke. Because I'm telling you, it will just autocorrect perfectly normal, well-spelled words into gibberish. It's like it learned all the typos and then is trying to turn things into type. Like, you ever go to type something and then you're just hitting the letter next to it by accident, and then, like, all of your words are off by the physical shift of your hands or thumbs on the keyboard. So, like, if you shifted everything to the right one, it would all be normal words. And it feels like autocorrect learned all of those misspellings by accident somehow, and as a result, sometimes it just vomits out things that make no sense. Point being is sometimes it feels like that's what's happening to people when they do game submissions. Some of the stuff makes no sense. Anyway, speaking of making no sense, bad guy opens up the middle panic point, and our hero claims it. And bad guy apparently has arachnophobia because they are just absolutely unwilling to go slice and dice the Henrietta. Admittedly, they didn't have any other way to follow up the damage, so it would have been able to poison, but whatever. I don't care. I'm going to go with arachnophobia is the real reason. But now, this did give our hero the opportunity, the window, get that Hematic in position. Are you sure? I think of the two, you needed to protect the Gravedigger. Like, the block needed to go one space higher. Yeah, the Hematic can connect with the Sparky, but it's not going to kill it. And then you keep your Gravedigger. Or you're more likely to keep your Gravedigger, I think. To be honest, maybe you lose the Gravedigger either way. Because then the Hematic and Jar should pick it off. Maybe this is fine. Maybe. This feels like one of the first few games of the night where bad guy is just getting beaten to a pulp. Bad news for bad guy. Oof. Yeah, this Hematic is just rotating spot to spot and murdering things along the way. This Hematic is the bad guy in a slasher flick. Just going around slaughtering everything in its path. I wonder, Phobies lore-wise, is Phobies Land just like Christmas Town in Nightmare Before Christmas? Or not Christmas Town, Halloween Town? Where, like, everything's kind of demented. Everything's kind of messed up. But to them, it's completely normal and they love it. That's gotta be it, right? There's no, like, meaningful economy. Except, so instead of Halloween, you replace Halloween with these battles. And then, like, the entire economy is based on, you know, like, the equivalent of a Phobies Poke Center to reanimate all the Phobies. And then you'll have people like the mad scientist guy in Nightmare Before Christmas, who, similar to in Phobies, you would have, you know, whoever's creating Erratic and Gravedigger and stuff doing their experiments and whatever. As we talked about before, there's clearly a police department. We learned that in the Great Phobies, the Great Vendy search. We're going over this as bad guys just getting punched directly in the neck. Yep. Bad guy just got annihilated here. There's really not much to say about this one, unfortunately. Nothing really to add when bad guy just, well, our hero just tees off. How fitting. Chomp to death. GG. We got him, chat. We did it. All right. Game number 9. pvzfurmade. Crazy mirror match on an unlikely map. What exactly is unlikely about this? Is it that the mirror match is happening on this map, or... We already don't have a mirror match. What are we talking about here? Did I pick the right game? I'm going to assume this is the right game. Sorry, I had to switch windows to get back. Am I being trolled again? What are we doing here? Am I being trolled again? Like... What part of this is mirrored? You better start spitting out the identical phobies for like the next 5 turns. All right, identical phobies. There we go. We're starting it off. I hate being lied to, chat. The beginning of this game was a lie. Our hero doing a great job of controlling the middle. Bad guys... I mean, our hero's in the driver's seat, but bad guy needs to make moves somehow. I don't think this is it. Alright. Moffat getting added can change things. any spiders in real life that have their eyes arranged like that, where they have a big eye above another big eye, as opposed to having two next to each other? Like, I've seen a lot where it's like two big eyes, and then two above, two below, and then maybe two others on the sides or something. But, like, I don't think I've seen any spiders that are in this more vertical optical setup. I wonder how evolutionarily impactful that is. Wait, what? So we're freeing up the slot here to unlock the extra 4 keys. But you could have gone in and attacked. I feel like that would have been better rather than just sack them to the lava pit. Wait, you have ash? I just saw the spider out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, oh, it's another Moffat. So we have ash and paddles. Oh my god, alright, that was actually sick. This was actually kind of hilarious. There is no reality where bad guys saw this one coming. There's no shot. The double displacement to set up the sucky kill? Alright. Alright. We also get the freeze here on the Moffat. And because of the positioning, you can't counter freeze here. Not easily. Alright, we're gonna freeze the Jinn Sting. Itsy Bitsy Spider went splat. Honestly, very well played by PvZ. I mean, PvZ did have control of the map. This wasn't really a mirror match, I would say, at all. Very, very small amount of mirror match. Obviously, the Frosties. Oh. We're gonna freeze? No, we just get the kill. That's generally better. Generally speaking, you'd rather just kill the phobie instead of freezing it. Sizzle not quite good enough. Alright. That was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool one. I like that one. That play was adorable. Probably shouldn't have worked, but it did. Alright, we got time for one dupe. One duplicate. We're gonna watch another Painful Fate game. Alright, Painful Fate, bringing it back! Noughts and crosses. Brute became, in my opinion, a better phobie since its recent buff. Tried him and didn't regret it a bit. So these notes made me laugh, because I read them as the stream was loading up. I'm like, alright, which games are we watching? And I saw these notes. And I will reread the notes that made me laugh. Brute became, in my opinion, a better phobie since its recent buff. So are you telling me that if you buff a phobie, it gets better? Nah. Nah. No way. No way. That's just like... galaxy brain. 6,000 IQ right there. I'm busting Painful Fate's balls, but it was just really funny to me. Like, I'm a little punchy. And it just made me laugh. It's like, yeah, when you make something better, it turns out that it's better. Who'da thunk it? So chat, went out to get lunch with my wife We found this new chicken place. And, it had a very interesting menu. Because it was, like, not quite Korean barbecue. But they had... So we just got... Like, I just got a chicken sandwich. And, she also got a chicken sandwich, but she got it with, like, whatever sauce it was. I forget what they called it. But it was basically a General Tso's chicken sandwich. Like, it looked and tasted exactly like General Tso's chicken. If you've ever had that. And it was just in a sandwich form. And it was awesome. Like, I got the plain one just because if you have a beard, I don't like messy food because it's, like, very easy to get in the beard and then, like, you don't realize it or, like, it gets everywhere. And, like, especially when you're eating something that, if you're going to a new place and they put sauce on the food, you never know, are they, like, drenching it in sauce? Is it just, like, a light glaze? Is it, I'm going to pick this thing up and it, like, disintegrates in my hands because it's so soggy? Or something like that? And it didn't, for the record. But I don't like to experiment with it until I know what I'm dealing with. Or, like, if I get it and I bring it home, that's different. But if we're out and it's like, this is going to be a mess, I don't want to deal with it. But it was really good. I just wish they were closer to our house. Just can't have everything. Can't have everything, chat. By the way, Unbearable once again. The super secret tech from Painful Fate. Alright, we got a regular Moffat this time. I was watching a video about the huntsman spiders from Australia. Apparently they... like, the video was saying they're Australia's deadliest spider, even though they aren't venomous. Just because they cause so many car accidents. Because they'll, like... the way it was described is they'll crawl into the, like the sun visor. And it's like, oh, the sun's setting. I need to pull the sun visor down. So you pull the visor down, and then this, like, enormous spider jumps on your face or something. Because it's like, oh, I've been found. And even though they can't hurt you, and you may know that in your head, if a spider the size of, like, a frisbee jumps on your face, most people are going to have a reaction, so I understand why it may be causing car accidents. Alright, we're cleaning up some cowbells here. With fire. It's probably what a lot of people thought when I started talking about huntsman spiders. Clean them up with fire. This is a very standoffish game, as you can tell by the parallel lines of Phobies. We've talked about this idea before. Yeah, Moobot. Get rid of those spammers. We're just going to ban them now. The bot cleaning up the bots that showed up, because there's been a rash of them lately on Twitch. There's the Brute Wars. I wonder if Phobies... It's not every game, though. Like, I don't know how to program this without doing a blanket rule of, like, every so many turns this thing happens. But, like, think about Fortnite or any of those genre, the Battle Royale games. I'm brain fart for a second. I couldn't think of Battle Royale. Where you have the storm or the whatever that encloses the arena, and then it shrinks over time to force people to interact, because otherwise those games would naturally devolve into camping, right? I don't know that that's necessary for folks. Like, look at this game. This is a 29-turn game. It's a longer game, but it's not like a long game. This is not an exceptionally long game. And things were happening. People were repositioning. But sometimes I watch some of these games and I wonder if it wouldn't be helpful if we just force people to interact. And again, this comes back to, I've theorized that panic points weren't in the original design of Phobies and that they were added after the fact in order to prevent those sort of things from happening. There were probably like, oh, we'll have these important points on the map that you want to contest, you know, like stims and things. But I wonder if panic points were always there. And I wonder if maybe the storm or whatever would be better or worse. It wouldn't work for all maps, but that's an enormous hit from Brute Worst, by the way. Pretty sick hit. There's no way Brute Worst is bad now, right? Like, I don't know that Brute Worst is a staple, but, like, it's got to be pretty close, right? Even if this ability is only going off every other turn. Now, here's something I will say to everyone. Remember the game earlier we watched where somebody's like, oh, I lost to a Brute Worst. What should I have done? And it's possible maybe there was nothing they could have done given the way the game played out, like the phobia choices that were made long before you knew the Brute Worst was coming, kind of thing. Like, you can always say, oh, well, and I was doing this at the time, like, oh, we'll redo all these things and you'll be fine. Well, yeah, but that's only if Brute Worst shows up. What if this other thing shows up? Imagine if Bad Sushi all of a sudden got, like, the Brute Worst treatment. Wouldn't that be a fucking nightmare, given that thing is only 3 keys? And it's going to show up on, like, turn 1 instead of Brute Worst, which shows up dramatically later in the game, because even on a small map, you're not going to waste the first 2 turns banking to put it onto the board, because you're going to lose an enormous amount of tempo. But on a large map, you still have to march his fat ass across the map. Like, I mean, Brute Worst is definitely very solid, but I don't think that... I think if Brute Worst becomes, quote-unquote, meta, or even close, you know, Brute Worst becomes a regular, healthy part of the meta, then I think that only goes to show that any Bad Sushi buff will be unhealthy. Hopefully Bad Guy doesn't try to run, because that would be super obnoxious. I don't think it's possible for them to run. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they could run. I don't think it would do anything. Yeah, because they just died to panic points anyway. GG. GG. Hope I'm not too late for your game. Yes, in fact, you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did yours right before that one. I know there's one more. We're going to save the other 2. And hopefully, there isn't another patch to break them. That patch was unexpected, too. That patch was unexpected. I don't know. We'll have to see here. There was an announcement of something other than Boss's birthday, right? Or was there? Yeah, it was just the maps. 7 new maps. 3 small, 4 large. I'm glad that they're adding the maps. Oh, we got somebody else trying to create a tournament. I will say, I really do hope that the tournaments work. Like, I really do want them to succeed. But a lot of people realize when they've run their first tournament how much of a pain in the ass it is. Sometimes through innocence, like, players don't understand, it's complicated, it's their first tournament, it's whatever. And other times through, I don't want to say malice, because that implies intent, but people being dummies is the way I'll put it. And there's just no way around it. Like, that's going to happen. You just kind of have to accept it with the territory. The issue is, I don't think there's enough interest, and I've talked about this before, there's enough interest in competitive Phobies right now. And I'm running into similar issues with other games. Like, I'm trying to coordinate tournaments for other games as well. And in order to run successful events, you do need, like, certain numbers of players, depending on, like, what you're targeting, obviously. And that's easier said than done. So it is what it is. I'm still mulling over trying to bring back tournament series. I probably won't until August, just because I won't have time between now and then, but we'll see. But either way, that's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next week, of course, with more Phobies viewer games. But as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And tune in next time for more Random Thoughts.